All right, Erim. How do you approach women coming from the pickup artist of the Muay Thai community?
So, how you say anything makes more sense than what you say. Like if you have a positive, firm body language and you actually believe in the words that you're saying, is how you say makes matter more than what you say. Especially coming through a non-native speaker. Sometimes, you go on different paths because it's never going to be perfect. Like not every approach has to be perfect, but if you believe in yourself that in your mind, okay, I see this girl across the board and I'm going to approach and I'm going to take her number, get her number, take her to this, whatever, and you do it with firm self-confidence, even if you get rejected, you're going to build that confidence. And that's what we've been talking about the past couple of podcasts.
So let's take it back a little bit. Probably be more specific with this question for like the guys, especially like the younger guys that are scared of rejection. What do you think they have to do to get over that rejection of approaching a girl? Because I've been looking at a lot of statistics online, and a lot of, people that meet up are online now, whether it's Hinge, Tinder, whatever. But the problem is with that is that there's still kind of this uneven ratio when it comes to like guys getting women online because of how they look. When you go on dating sites, that's all you see is like their profile
Right.
and how they look and like 3 questions of a prompt. So I think the old school way of like actually coming up to women in a non-disgusting way, of course,
Right.
not in a non like sick,
Yeah.
disgusting pickup artist way, and actually go up to her and be a decent human being and say hi, I think honestly is a lot more effective because human to human interaction is quite frankly more genuine, right?
True. But at the same time, like texting online is definitely much easier than approaching in person. But you don't want to become a pen pal. Like you don't want to just text her, good morning, good night, how you doing today? You want to send texts with a plan. So you want to send texts like, what are you doing this Friday night at 6 p.m.? I want to take you out. We're going to go bowling and stuff like that. You want to have firm. You don't want to be a pen pal. Like, there's millions of dudes in our DMs. Like, trust me. Like, at least like she's talking to 5 dudes at the same time. Like, let's be real, right? Like, if she's hot, even if she's younger, like if she's 21, 25, in that age period, in that range, she has like tens of dudes in her DMs. Like, you just don't want to end up one of those dudes. You want to be the guy who lives a busy life, who works out, got his shit together, and want to take her out for a nice time. And at the same time, you don't want to like, oh, I'm going to take this girl out, and we're going to make out, I'm going to take her. No, dude, like that's not the question. You want to be in a mindset that I'm going to take this girl out. No matter what happens at the end of the tonight, I'm going to have fun. Like, and if you have that energy spreads all over you. Like the people who are at the bowling alley or whatever, they're going to look at you differently because you don't have intention set up to like, okay, I'm gonna make up with this girl. No, you're just gonna go out there, have fun, have a few drinks, have some good food, stay in the budget. Obviously, you don't want to go out there and spend like $400 and have difficulties paying rent at the end of the month.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And
Like,
I think that's kind of easy to do, right? If you approach it the right way, it's
Right.
you don't need to take her to like a crazy fancy dinner.
No.
I mean, but just show her a good time. Like, meaning you could even take her to, I know there's
boba places are
boba
great.
places. Yeah, I mean, there's
More
this.
cheese,
Have you seen that?
$25 date.
Have you seen those videos of like, there's this whole thing, I think it was like a couple weeks ago or a few weeks ago, where like, if he takes me to Cheesecake Factory, then, fucking
Stay away from those
stay
girls.
away from him. Yeah, exactly. And it's like, wait a minute, like this guy is like literally taking the time to, take you out to dinner, buy the dinner,
Right.
and like try to get to know you, and all you're thinking about is the place. No, you're completely right. It's kind of like if the woman is saying that, it's like a big judge of the character. It's kind of like, dude, that's terrible characteristics to have. That means she's just basing that date on what you can offer to her, like as far as money wise.
Right. Because I feel like social media kind of ruined women, and adult entertainment ruined men. That is just my take on this matter. Because men, if you watch porn or like adult entertainment, you literally have something that's within you that can create life. And if you're just like letting it go, out of the 4 pixels, you're losing your masculinity. At the same time, when it comes to women, even if you're a decent looking woman, you don't have to be like gorgeous. You have 800 followers at least, or 500, whatever. So in her mind, oh, I met this very good dude. Like he treats me well. He has his stuff together, but I can do better. So that's the problem with the society that we're experiencing right
With
now.
the social media age, right?
Right.
Because it gives you the illusion that you have a lot of options. Whereas
In
I saw
reality-
this statistic, like most of the top, I hate this statistic for some reason. It makes me cringe out. But the top 10% men, whether it's in height, looks, whatever, money, gets like 80% of whoever's on that dating site of women. And it deems to be true.
Yeah, I believe that.
It's the illusion of like your options. And it skews a lot of it ruins a lot of people's chances, especially for genuine men out there that are trying to actually build a connection with women. And that's not to say that it's easy for women just because they got these options. I know they're like the gatekeepers of like the go ahead into like getting into a relationship or sex, whatever, or they're the determinants whether you're gonna have sex with them. And I know it's not easy for them because they could a guy could try to con them, and all of a sudden they're with some fucking asshole like 2 years down the line, and then he's like an abusive asshole. That's not what I'm saying. But then initially, I just have to go back to my point where that's why it's so easier to meet in person. Even though you don't know that person off the bat, like even if it's just a hi, at least you kind of have some sort of metric to where you could be like, okay, well, at least in person, he seems like a genuinely good person.
Right.
And, yeah, why not? Let's give it a shot. Let's go on one date.
Right.
And then, I don't like him or I don't like her, then it's almost like, all right, well, fuck it.
Right.
Move on to the next.
Yeah, it's experience at the same time.
Yeah.
And the more that you approach, the more that you talk with people, the better your communication skills get. If you live in a bubble, like if you don't go out, if you order out food, you live with your parents, which is nothing wrong with that. But if you live in that bubble, then you're not going to get any better. And communication is key in every aspect of life.
Yeah.
Even if you're selling stuff online, if you work at a blue-collar job or whatever, you have to go out there and talk with people. Because the more value that you provide, the more money that you're going to make, the better connections you're going to have. And you're not going to have that social anxiety anymore, Because it's not easy. I mean, I'm not saying it's easy to go out and have public speaking skills, which takes time, effort, energy. But on the other side of things, if you never try it, then you're never going to find out your potential.
Yeah, ultimately, that's like the driver. You have to be tired of being sick and tired.
Yeah.
That means you got to be sick and tired of like not going on dates.
Yeah.
That's gonna really push you to actually do that action. It's almost like you're hitting rock bottom. It's kind of like, oh my god, like I haven't been on a date and or I've never been on a date with my life for the younger guys, and that's the cue in your body to be like, well, fucking, you better do something about it,
yeah.
otherwise you're gonna be like a fucking loser all your life.
Yeah, that's why I'm telling you, like, porn is so bad for men, like, because your body thinks that it actually had sex, because they don't know. Like, our bodies still haven't adapted to the digital world that we live in, right? In your mind, like, you think, like, okay, I had sex, so I don't need any reason to go out there, spend time, money, energy into women, and actually have good connections with them.
Yeah, part of that too is that, of course, I love my psychology videos, and part of that too is that after you masturbate, it does kind of it's not the real thing as sex, obviously,
Yeah.
but it does reenact the orgasm. So after the orgasm, prolactin builds up, and then you get lethargic, which means you just get fucking lazy.
Yeah.
Hence, after kind of having after having sex, it's the same effect as the aftermath after having sex. That's why you're like unmotivated. You
The
just
post nut
fucking-
clarity.
post-
That's the thing, though.
No, I know it's a big thing. It's a big thing. You know, it's almost like, man, before you go out with a woman, I can't believe I'm saying this, but then if you go out with a woman that you think you like, you better fucking jack off first before you go out and see if you're actually in love.
No, that's the test, the Chris test.
It's a test. But I want to go back, in all seriousness, I kind of want to go back into what you were saying. I want to elaborate on the confidence factor of it.
Right.
Because, fuck, confidence, not just to women, but confidence to everyone, whether it's like in the business sense
Right.
or trying to get a job sense or going up to a woman sense. It's like crack to people.
True.
It's like crack to people, man. If you have the right body language, you go up to them, you mean what you say, and just let it out, express your interest to that woman, and do it with confidence, or try to do it as confidently as you can. Fuck, like it goes a long way.
Right.
It's sub communication. It's not what you're actually saying, but it's what you're like kind of internally putting out there.
Right.
You know, it's such a powerful way to like speak. You know, with your body language and the things that you aren't saying compared to the things you are saying, because anyone can lie.
Right.
Anyone could be disingenuous and make it seem real. But what I've come to find out is that humans, on a long enough time scale, they're very smart in picking it up. They have a pretty accurate bullshit radar of like what a human being's about. Like if you're full of shit, people will pick that up.
Right.
Pretty immediately, or they're gonna pick it up in the long run. The more you talk, the more that vomit comes out of your mouth, the more they're gonna pick up on that. They're gonna be like, "Oh, this guy's a fucking like pathological liar or something."
Right, right.
You know. So I think that's number one. Number one is like confidence. Even though you're not this fit, you know, you think that you're some ugly dude. It's like you're probably not. You know, you're not.
Right.
Because it all depends on how you think you're yourself, and that's all that matters ultimately.
Right.
But it's just the way you carry yourself. And personally, for me, I've had feedback about like, you know, honestly, like I'm not trying to like sound like I'm some fucking dating guru, but I've heard I ask girls that I've dated like feedback, like what do you think was attractive, just because I want to know.
Right.
And they're like, it's the way you carry yourself. And I know what that means. It's just the way I'm in the present moment when I'm talking to them. It's how I confidently kind of speak and
Right.
try to elaborate on the things that she says. I'm not slouched down. I'm not like, oh yeah, you know. I'm just trying to be genuine, I guess.
You're
So
owning that experience, right? You're owning the experience. That's what matters the most.
yeah, being in the present moment, like you said, and
Right.
also, kind of to add to that, it's just, and I'm still working on this because everyone has a goal, right? And I promise you it'll relate to dating, but everyone has a goal. But I have no more expectations.
Right.
I think when guys go up to women and like ask for a number and they get the number, and then all of a sudden they text the girl and she doesn't respond back, I think they're like, fuck, they get down on themselves, and then, you know, they go on this like negative snowballing effect of thoughts of like, damn, like she completely dissed me, and they feel inadequate all of a sudden. And part of that is just having like, it's scarce. You know, it's probably they're banking on that woman to like text them back. So they kind of make it their self-worth to be like, fuck, I guess I'm a loser because she didn't text me back. It's like, no, you just have to realize that that's just how it is.
Right. That's the game. You
Yeah,
gotta learn the game, right?
A lot of them, they want to give you their number because to be nice, and you can't blame them for that.
Right.
You know, or they don't want to say no, and then have you follow them in the parking lot and fucking kill them.
Yeah,
you know, that's probably what they're thinking. Into
they
the
don't know.
extreme evolutionary psychology of it, that's what they're thinking. They're probably like, dude, I don't want this guy to stalk me, so I'm just gonna like give him my number and so that he like leaves me alone. And it makes complete sense. I don't blame him for that at all. You know.
You know what's the best indicator that if she has interest? When you ask for her name, you shook her hand, break that touch barrier. If she asks your name back, then that means that she's interested. And another test that once you get the number, read the number, but make a mistake at the end. You know, like instead of like 3150 or something like that, 56. So you change one number, and if she, says that, oh no, it's not the number, then you're in a good track.
Now we're just getting into like now we're just getting into like strategic gross pickup artist stuff, dude. Like if you change the number, and then she's probably like.
So, but
I get what you're saying. I get what you're
s-
saying.
Like you said, 100%, I agree. Like if you set up your expectations after you're getting the number, you're gonna be like, oh, I'm gonna date this woman, and if you don't date her, then you're gonna be disappointed. But if you set up your expectations a bit lower than that, even if she doesn't text you, you're gonna be like, okay, so what?
Yeah,
Come on.
that's the best thing I've ever heard from like dating advice. It's till now is that have high hopes, but have low expectations. So that means that okay,
That's
if
good.
you go approach a girl and then you ask for her number, don't expect the number. If you get the number, don't expect the response. If you get the response, don't expect the date. If you get the date, don't expect to like sleep with her.
Right.
Right? High
Smart.
hopes, low expectations. And I think that's just with anything in life, kind of going off here. But yeah, just focus on the action itself and not the actual goal. That's hard to do. It takes a little bit of enlightenment, but then you could be enlightened every time, just as long as you're self-aware of it. So say if like you going into a fight, we'll get back to dating in a minute, but then like you going into a fight, you're like, I really want to win this fight. I trained hard. Of course, man, all these emotions are going through, but that's all they are. It's just their emotions. You have no control of the outcome of how that fight goes. If he does a one-hitter quitter on you, you're done.
Right.
You could be the best fighter. And then if like George St. Pierre said, if you zigged when you should have zagged, it's fucking over.
So what? Yeah.
Yeah, it's over. And the thing is that you can't relate your self-worth to that. You just can't. You just got to know that you trained hard for it, and that's what makes you the person you are. But again, I don't want to veer off too much, but going back to that, that's what it is. You can't put your self-worth into someone else, right? Like if you get dissed or if you get turned down by like an attractive woman or even your crush, that doesn't define you, man. It doesn't define your self-worth. It doesn't define like, your self-respect about you. It's just another one. It's just
Right.
the way the world works. And I hate to say that, like, it's just the way the world works, but it kind of is. It's just
Right.
kind of like, well, man, don't get so attached to someone. Just move on to the next one
Right.
and go on from there.
Right. Otherwise, you live in a delusional world of your own making, and that's the worst place to be.
Yeah, and plus, if you're banking on one person, they turn you down, then you completely quit. You're not getting information from all the repetitions that you could be doing.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you're not tweaking how you should maybe approach the woman, or maybe like the way you talk to someone, or maybe the way you go about dates. If for example, if you're just some guy that wants to show off how much fucking money you have, or like what kind of car you drive and how badass you are and like fighting or something, those bar talks.
Yeah.
She's probably gonna get turned off really quick, man. She don't want to hear that shit. That's only a bonus. That's only a bonus. Like all that external shit, and respect to like you if you have it, because it takes a lot of hard work to do that. But what I found out is like mostly people of that status of like if they have money usually don't
They're
go
silent,
around.
yeah,
Yeah,
because
they
they-
don't go flaunting
yeah.
around their shit. You're again subcommunication, right? You're gonna know if they have money or not. You're gonna know if they're confident or not.
Right.
You're gonna know if they know how to fight or not. It's just they don't go around gloating about it.
Right.
They just kind of like, yeah, I used to fight, and then from there you'll kind of pick up like, oh, he used to like run a business. That's why he makes all this money.
Insecurities are loud and confidence is silent. That's
Yeah.
how I see it.
So when it comes to dating, can you take me like through your step by step of how Erim, the heavyweight champion of dating, would go about like when you actually approach the girl and she's like attracted to you, right? Take me through the steps of like how you would handle an actual date. Give me the first date, like just for example.
First date, like
Yeah,
but,
take
but,
me
but
through.
before the date, like once you get the Instagram or the phone number, you wanna text. I wouldn't say right away, but relatively a shorter time period. So you don't want to get a number or an Instagram and send the text message a week later. You don't want to do that. You want to do it within like 12 hours or even faster if you think like that's the best move. Make like a funny comment because that's how you attract them, you know, like you want to make them laugh, right? At the end of the day. And like I said, I always got a plan. Like I got a plan. Okay, I'm going to take this girl out to this time, this day, to this place.
Would you say, so to add context to that, would you say that it's important for you to kind of take control and plan everything out?
100%. 100%. Girls don't like if they make the decisions. Like if you say Friday night, 6 p.m., Fremont Street, and if she says I got off work at 7, okay, let's meet at 8. You know, you have to have that like flexibility at the same time. You can't be like, oh no, it's 6 and it's gonna be 6 only. You can't be like that. You have to have that flexibility. And if she actually says that she's got planned at 6, let's do it at 8, that's great. You know, like that means that she's actually interested in going out with you, and you're
Okay, so, and then after, like, say when you're physically there, right, in dinner, how do you go about it? Like, you just kind of being yourself, you're
Right.
just kind of, oh, the reason why I asked, okay, so maybe I should have been more clear, is because,
I get the question.
like I said, like, I think the guys, especially starting off, or the ones, or, you know, if you don't really know, if you haven't gotten a lot of dates, if you're inexperienced, is because, like, they don't know what to do. I think their go-to nature is the nice guy kind of
Way?
yeah, where they're like, oh, really? They're agreeable on everything. They really have nothing to say. It's almost like, oh, you like that? Me too. What? We have so much in common. We should like be together. It's almost like they're trying to con the girl.
Right.
Into,
And
I
that's
get
not
it.
attractive.
Like, I get it. We have our own strategies because everything is a strategy, right? Like even being authentic and genuine, ultimately you have an intention. I'd be lying to you if I didn't have an intention like of either dating a girl or whatever, sleeping with a girl, you know, but I express that.
Yeah.
Like I'm very clear when I speak to a girl when I'm dating them. I don't off the bat like I don't off the bat be like, hey man, are we gonna? But I'll give them hard signals. I'll be like, I'll slip something in like, oh well, I think you're very attractive, you know. So like I'll slip that somewhere in the conversation just to let her know that I'm interested.
Right.
Because I think if you don't and you just kind of like you're just agreeable, or if you just don't have an opinion, that's the quickest way to get in the friend zone.
Right.
It's the quickest
100%.
way. It's kind of like, oh, this guy's giving me attention,
Yeah.
but
Fast
he doesn't
lane.
want anything from me. So, okay, I just call him up and like, you know.
So if you got the number or the Instagram account to the in-person interaction, then I'm assuming that you break the touch barrier by shaking her hand, because that's the easiest way to break the touch barrier. Then you introduce yourself. My name's Erim. You got her name, whatever, and you shake your hand. That's also a great tip.
How do you shake your hand? Can you show me?
Like,
Oh man, that's too firm, man. I'm like a feminine woman, dude. Like, is that? Oh, interesting.
but like, okay. So when it comes to dating, because that's the question that you asked me.
Yeah.
Once you break the touch barrier, when the beginning of the date, when you see her, like she parked her car, whatever, you don't want to be like, hey, you know, you don't want to be like that. But I like to do double underhooks gable grip. Dude, I'm not even kidding, bro. Like, if I like, that's the best case. Double underhooks gable grip.
That's how you shake a woman's hand, just like straight
Nah, dude,
grappling, just
nah,
like
dude.
you're trying to get the underhook on her.
Double underhook gable grip. Backside, like close to the backside, but you don't want to go too low. That's
Okay,
creepy, you know?
okay.
So that's the perfect spot.
Wow.
And then you go carry on with your date, bowling,
Yeah.
boba.
But so you're saying you're not trying necessarily take her back for a rear naked choke. You're trying to like not go too under. Just
I mean,
kinda
it
like
depends
go.
on how the night goes. But we're talking about the first date.
All right. Let's.
Because in your mind, like, you want to break the touch barrier, bro. You don't want to be like, hey, you know, you
Okay.
don't want to be that guy. You want to have confidence, you know, because you know how to grapple.
Right. Perfect. I like that one, dude. That was good. That's good, man. So, what other tips do you have? For this is fun, by the way. What other tips do you have for guys? What other tips do you have for like younger guys, so that they have a better chance to get that connection with like women?
Approach more, you know, learn from the experience, own the experience, Even if you got rejected, if she says I got a boyfriend, which is the most common lie that also women say, you're just gonna be okay. I tried my shot, whatever, because that's what we've been talking about the past podcast. Rejection is better than regret, because when you're driving home in your car, you're not gonna be thinking like, oh shit, I got rejected. You're gonna be like, okay, she lost me. But if you haven't approached, you're gonna be like, what if? Like you're driving. What if you park your car, you shut down your car? You're sitting in your car still. Like you're thinking about the possibilities that could have happened. But if you don't shoot your shot, you're never gonna learn. So.
Yeah, it's very true, man. Regret's a motherfucker.
Mm-hmm.
I said this on the last podcast. That seems to be the theme, probably the ongoing theme from here on out.
Mm-hmm.
But, dude, regret is the worst emotion that you could feel. It's the worst emotion, and I've read a lot of books on it where people are like on their deathbeds, and then it's just regret that kills them. It's not how much money they make. They're not going to take it to their grave.
Yeah.
It's not the car that they buy. It's like the relationships that they have and what they coulda, woulda done. Coulda, woulda, shoulda, right? That's the ultimate killer. True. Even me, like when I don't do something that I really want, like if I don't apply for a job that I thought I could have gotten or that I wasn't confident in getting, or if I could have went up to, that girl that I made, because look, sometimes I'm delusionally confident, and I almost think I kind of have to be in anything I do, be delusionally confident. Like, I don't say this arrogantly, like where I say I think I could get every woman in the world. No, it's not like that. It's just I believe in myself so much that if I don't do something, then it's almost like, dude, what are you? Yeah. Like, you know what I mean? Like, wait, you're not who you say you are, bro. Right. So again, that goes in your memory bank. It's kind of like, and then if you do it for the next time, it's going to be like, wait, you fucking flaked out on the last time. So what makes you think that you're that fucking guy to do it? Like, right? It's almost like a subconscious thing.
Yeah, downward spiral,
Yeah. That's why it's so important to, if you do have an intention to speak to a woman, just go ahead and speak to her. If you don't know what to say, it's not really the meat of the conversation. It's not really the start of conversation and what you say to her. Yeah, introduce yourself, say hi. For me, I like to observe something about her and then talk about that and then just go right into it, like I've known her for a very long time. But after that, it just flows. Like we've been talking ever since we were like 6 or whatever, right. You know what I mean? Or 4, or whenever you started talking.
Right.
Like you have the skills to talk. It's just you have to get in that free flow mode of talking.
Right.
And it's no different when you're talking to an attractive girl. You just have to stay in the present and get into the flow state. It's kind of like breathing. It's almost like, oh, okay, yeah, I'm just talking to another human being.
Right.
And then you get out your best parts about you. Then, yeah, that's how she goes. So, all right, we're going to go into our monologue. What would you like to say before we end this relating to the topic of like dating, attraction, whatever valuable tips that you've learned from life about, courting women, being in love, whatever it may be.
Taking consistent action. Like that would be my key take about like dating and attraction. The more that you approach, the better you're going to get at approaching not just women in life general, because you're going to have those experiences which increases your social intelligence at the same time. Because if you never put yourself out there, you're not going to gain anything in life, even though you might make a living, a decent life, maybe drive like a okay car, have your house, whatever, but you're not going to reach into your potential unless you take consistent action. And that's what we're doing here right now. Like, we've been doing this for a while now, and I like it. I enjoy doing it. We both take this time of our lives, our busy lives, and block this time period so we can get better at podcasting, talking, video production, whatever. And we're getting better at it, right? Like,
absolutely.
There's like no other indication that we're getting bad at this. So that would be my key point of everything in life. The more you take action, the better you're gonna get.
Especially with dating, right?
Yeah.
So there's 2 things. 100%. That was beautiful, by the way. I think that hit the nail on the head. It's just repetitions to get good at something. Also, I would encourage you to do so. I know it's not as easy. I know like there's this cross-sex mind reading where like I've talked to girls about it and they're like, "Oh, really? It's hard for guys to come up to women or to come up to attractive girls." Like, yeah, dude, like I mean, isn't it hard to come up for you to a guy that you're interested in, you know?
Right.
But whatever you can, muster up like the courage to try to do it just because you want to fail as fast as you can. You want to get that information. All failing is data.
Right.
That's all it is.
Yeah.
It's to tweak your I guess you could say it's just to tweak what you're gonna do better for the next time in the future when you do it. So the second time you approach the girl, you're gonna get better at it. The third time, you might be a little shittier, but you'll learn from that. The fourth time, so that action that you're doing presently isn't really your goal. The goal is to get better in the future for your future self. It's not for that moment. It's not to hit a fucking home run with that girl that you're trying to approach. It's for the next girl. And if you fail at that, it's for the next girl and ongoing because we all know the shit don't stop. The second thing would be like, I think if there's anything in life, this is just life advice in general, and of course relating to dating, is that yes, approach that girl because you don't want to have any regrets. You don't want to stay awake at night and say coulda, woulda, shoulda, and that's for anything with, you know, you trying to get a job, with you not taking the fight, you know, or something and having a chance to win, or you not having to do that activity that will forever change your life. Yeah, that's the same thing with the girl. What if coulda, woulda, shoulda, right? What if you found the connection that you've always wanted? Because I think for the most part, I think guys do want that connection. Fuck all the, yeah, I just want to fuck this girl. Like, for me, I don't want to do that. I've had my phase, you know, don't get me wrong, but for me, like, I want to find a connection, and I'm sure that like 95% of the guys do. You know, they want to be monogamous, and they want to find someone that's supportive, and you're never going to know that, and even worse, if you regret not having to approach that girl, which would have been getting married, and you know, whatever your goal is, then yeah, that's the biggest, I think, regret in life is regret. So
Beautiful said.
all right, man. So
Alrighty.
episode 2 officially in the
Officially.
books. We've been doing it, like I said, for 5 episodes, and oh man, we're getting really good at it. I'm I'm enjoying these talks. But yeah, let's finish it right here. We want to keep these podcasts cut
and
the
sweet.
fat, and I'm pretty sure I'm gonna cut the fat while I'm talking here.
Right.
But all right, cool, man.
All right.